One of the other fruit varieties I've been growing the past couple years here that I'm really a fan of is Boysenberry. And I got these as small plants maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And they're at the point where they're producing a ton of fruit. This one here gets very little light. I would say maybe 2 hours of direct light a day. And Boysenberry's very similar looking to blackberry. The berries look similar. They're a little less tart, and they're produced on these almost vines. Instead of bushing out like a blackberry will, they tend to produce really long tendrils and canes that will produce a ton of berries along them. Even this is just one plant here, and it's got a lot of fruit on it for one plant, especially one that's only 2 or 3 years old. And it's one that I'm definitely a big fan of. And the berries get very, very sweet. They have quite a bit less sour or sort of tart flavor than something like a blackberry has. And they're pretty large. So that's Boysenberry. I'll show some that I have planted out in the orchard area. This one here receives very little light and still produces a lot of good berries and gets to a good size in a short period of time. Most of the ones, I have sold a few of these this year, and they were mostly like a stool layering type of thing, where I plant kind of the way you do with blackberry canes, where I plant the tip in the ground or let the tip of the plant root itself in the ground and then dig up the plant and grow it out from there. So the ones we were just looking at were in about 2 hours of sun a day. These ones out here get quite a bit more sun, but the ones we were just looking at were 3 years old, I believe. And these ones here I plant here. So they're not quite as beefy yet, but they still have the same resemblance, very similar looking to a blackberry, but it grows in longer, sort of more trailing, a vine-like form. Right here. These ones probably could have used a little more water to get the berries to size up quicker, but they're generally just not going to do as well because they're about a year old versus the ones I was just showing. This one actually is less than a year old. This was rooted by one of these laying down in the middle between the two vines. I had them spaced about 7 or 8 feet apart, and one laid down between them, and I thought there's enough room for another one. I can support them with this little metal wire trellis here when they get longer. But they've been very easy to grow, and they definitely have a different look than the blackberries. I'll show you one of the blackberries nearby. So these guys are out here in the fig orchard, so they're getting more than 8 hours a day of sun. This is more the shape my blackberries grow to, which is similar but different. A little more upright branching and a little more of a sprawling sort of bush form than the boysenberries. The boysenberries are longer canes in general and less of them, and they almost somewhere between, they look a little somewhere between like a grapevine and a blackberry. But very cool plants, boysenberries and also blackberries. I'm a big fan of this. This is another blackberry here. I'm a big fan of these guys too. They're very productive. The blackberries to me taste a little more tart than the boysenberries. The boysenberries have a little different kind of sweetness, but both excellent. I think I prefer the taste of boysenberry sometimes, but you know, a well-ripened blackberry in full sun is actually really excellent too. I'll end my boysenberry thing here with these two little guys that I planted in ground earlier in the spring. So these were rooted off of those plants you saw already. I think I've only ever bought 2 of them. And they're doing great. And they're gonna get to be that size, and then those ones in the orchard will be producing a ton of berries next year. We got some this year, and these guys, typically for me, they've either produced the year I've planted them, if I plant them early enough in the spring, or the next year. So that's not bad for any sort of fruit. So definitely give boysenberries a try, or blackberries too. Blackberries are excellent also. They're both very reliable and don't require a lot of effort. Very low maintenance, low effort plants that produce great fruit.